Hey guys, welcome back. I know about a week ago I told you I'd be doing a review on the most expensive non-brass piece of rolling stock out there, and I'm here with that, and you guys guessed it right. It was the 380-ton Schnabel transformer car by Bachmann, HO scale. This is what it looks like. It's three different paint schemes. You got gray with a red load, you've got a blue, and you have the red with a gray load that I have here on my layout. Now, this car has some pretty cool details, but before we get into that, I'm going to go show you what kind of consist I set up and why I set it up this way. There's not very many videos on YouTube about the Schnabel car, but there is one where it was up in the Northeast, I think heading into Illinois, and it had a consist of one locomotive, because that's all you need to pull. It had two flat cars with some containers. One of them was an 89-foot flat car. I don't have 89-foot flat cars, so I use these flat cars as stand-ins. These are 60-foot flat cars. Then you've got a caboose, and then you have the actual Schnabel 380-ton transformer car, and then you have another flat car, and then you have another caboose. Now, you're probably wondering why the cabooses. Well, they have to be these type of cabooses, and they have to be here so the crew can constantly monitor the load, make sure there's nothing going wrong, because when you're moving something this large on the rails, you have to be sure that safety is paramount. So, with that said, they've got two cabooses, or whatever the plural of caboose is, on this consist, and they're watching this transformer car, making sure nothing goes wrong. Now, let's go ahead and go over the details of the transformer car. Starting with the handrails, you can see the handrails, they're thin, they're durable, not too brittle, but they are really thin, so be careful with those. There's 16 sets of 125-ton roller bearing trucks, prototypically corrected 36-inch metal wheels, RP25 wheel contours, 8-span bolsters, detailed transformer load. There's also molded hydraulic lines and pumps. That's straight off the Bachmann list of stuff that's cool about this car. Now, it comes with a little set here of plastic pieces. This red plastic pieces that look kind of like keys basically hold the transformer car together when there's no load in here. They also come with these little silver things. If you look here, there's silver things. I've installed a couple of those. Those are representing cameras. There's cameras all around this car, also keeping monitor on the load and make sure there's nothing wrong. So you can install those little cameras. They just plug right in. You also have some nice detail on the unit, on the transformer itself. It's got nice little etching, stuff like that going on. So there are a couple problems with this car. I would not call it ready to roll as much as Bachmann. Once you just throw it on the rails, you have to obviously install the transformer. And then I had a couple of problems. The first problem is I'm actually redoing this video. I uploaded a review for a few minutes and pulled it off YouTube, because the first problem is underneath the load you're supposed to screw in these tiny little screws. You may see one here. Tiny little black screw. And you screw it in, and the movement of it breaks it loose. It strips fairly easily. So what I did is I found some longer screws. I installed them in there to fix that problem. And the other problem, if you look down at the level of this, there's little tabs that are supposed to come out of their holes when this goes around the curve, which I'll show you later, and the tabs did not. So I then had to shave down the tab a little bit in order to make it function correctly. So with that said, do those things and I'll be ready to roll. MSRP $250. It's up to you on whether you pay that or not, but let's go ahead. There's also, better prices and things like that out there. $150 for modeltrainstuff.com, I know. So it's up to you on whether you want to pay that for something that's not really ready to roll, but it is a pretty unique car. So now we talked about the consist and prototype. Speaking of prototypes, this isn't exactly like the prototype. There's a North American, it says it's North American style, but it's not exactly like the prototype. The prototype I think they went off of was actually car 800, and they've labeled this 801. However, there are some differences, and the handbrake is a little larger than it's supposed to be and things like that. And there's some differences in the actual prototype, so they just kind of loosely based it. So for you guys that are absolutely prototype nuts and has to be like the prototype, it's not the case. Alright, I've got my SD78's BNSF on. I've turned the sound off so you can hear me. And we're going to go ahead and bring this car around to show you what exactly happens when it turns. So the turn is beginning right here. I'm going to slow this down. And you see the load swing out. And that's another thing you're going to want to watch for. I've got 30-inch radius on the outside, and I've got 3-inch center track to center track from the inside track to the outside track, and this load is still encroaching on any traffic that would have been on the center track, the inside track. So be careful, don't have anything out of the way or in the way to where it can encroach on it when it's turning, because it will hit your rolling stock or locomotives in that other lane, especially most people who have 2-inch curves, 2-inch center to center around the curves, and I'm sitting here with 3 and still having that, and most people don't have 30 inches radius, but I have that and it's still overhanging. So that is how it turns, and that's pretty much it for operation. I mean, once it gets back on a straight, it'll straighten back out as you saw it earlier. So with that said, thanks for watching. We've got no more videos for about 3 more months. I am heading off to go to the Middle East to handle some military business for a few months on my day job. I want to thank you guys for your views. I want to thank you for your comments. The last video we talked about lighting. Some people told me to bounce it off the ceiling. I took that comment and I went with it, and I absolutely appreciate it. This little guy, Henry, is growing and growing, and I'm going to be gone for about 3 or 4 months and come back to him being totally different and larger and probably making nastier diapers. So anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for your comments. I take your comments to heart, and you guys are teaching me just like I'm teaching you, so I appreciate that. See you in about 3 months, 3 or 4 months. I'll be back at the end of June, early July, and we'll have some more reviews for you then with some products that will probably be releasing in the meantime. But as these products release, I won't have the reviews. They will be when I get back. Thanks for watching. See you next time.